In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God, whose proper name is Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters, in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the ancient tongue of Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, 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 dear beloved brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, human beings, people wherever you are on planet Earth. Welcome to another episode of the Image and Nation show. I'm a little bit disappointed because once again it would appear that we are struggling to go live via YouTube. I don't know what infraction or rule has been broken, but it would appear that we are not able at the present time to go live as we would like to. So just bear with me a second, dear family. Let's see what's going on here once again. Yeah, that's not allowing me. I'm wondering, those of you on Zoom, if you're picking everything up, if you can see, if you can hear, let us know, please, in the chat. Dear family, welcome to another episode of the Image and Nation show. Once again, this week, we're just going to be reflecting with Brother Leo. We were doing it last week. We're going to continue on that same theme. This week, really just looking at a few of the things which are currently going on our planet as we speak, and we just want to reflect on some of those things in relation to how it affects us. What's the reality of what's going on and how it actually impacts us as a people. Once again, dear family, I'm blessed to be joined by my beloved wife and sister Claudia Muhammad.
Excuse me. Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome again to another edition of Image and Nation show. I pray that you are all safe and well, and those of us in the UK, I pray that you're not too cold. Yeah, but it was a beautiful day today, lovely and sunny.
Yes.
Praise God.
Yes, I mean the weather was actually pretty good today, wasn't it? Gorgeous. I mean, it was still kind of like winter, cold.
Lovely.
But the sun was out. It was beautiful, and it kind of like gave us a little relief, considering where we are coming from. You know, just a couple of days ago, we were blessed to be on the continent of Mother Africa, and we were down there interacting with our people and just really soaking up that vitamin D. Did you know that as Black people, we really, really do suffer when we live in this northern hemisphere, when we are deprived of that sun, which we absolutely need. You know, some other people, they suffer from the sun. They can't take the sun. The sun has a detrimental effect on them in that they can even get cancer from, you know, too much sun. It can really very badly ill affect them. But as Black people, believe it or not, we are friends with the sun. The sun loves us and we love the sun. We need the sun. The sun is a vital part of our living condition. And so, dear family, you know, I would encourage all of us, whenever you have the opportunity to get in that sun, do it as a melanated person, because that melanin will be recharged, you will be re-energized, you will feel, you know, that you are really living. Some of your aches and pains will go away. This is the beauty and the power of that ball of fire that we have above all of us. Dear brothers and sisters, I am happy and concerned all at the same time, because in 2023, Black people, we are living now in a time that really belongs to us. It is the time for the rise of Africa. It is the time for the rise of the Black world. We have been a people who have been suppressed for hundreds of years, not a couple of decades, but literally hundreds of years. We have been a people who have been subjugated. We have been a people who have been the servants of other people, not because we desire to serve those people, but because we were forced into servitude. We were made into beasts of burden. I was looking when I was in Africa, one brother was explaining to me how the donkey is a beast of burden, and therefore, this was his opinion. They didn't have any obligation to treat that donkey too well. And they would give the donkey the smallest amount of food, just enough to kind of like keep them going. But what they would do was they would work the donkey big time, day in and day out. And essentially, that's what happened to you and I over a period of some 460 odd years, 470 years, nearly 500 years of ill treatment, starvation, torture, and all manner of atrocities were committed. These were all what they call in the modern parlance crimes against humanity. This is what we have suffered. And so, you shouldn't be surprised if you understand the cyclical nature of life and how what goes around comes around. What was will become again. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. You and I are the original people of the earth, and we lived, dear family. We've lived on this planet for, the years. It's really unimaginable when you consider how long Black people, Black men and women have been on this planet. Literally, it runs into the trillions of years. That's how old we are. But yet, for the last several hundred years, you and I have been down. It is now time for our rise, and we should be completely and utterly unapologetic about this rise. Did you know, dear family, that we're the only people alive on planet Earth today, based on what we've been through, that can actually give justice to the entire members of the human family? That means whether the person is Black, whether the person is brown, whether the person is white, yellow, red, we, based on our undeserved suffering, based on what we've experienced, because we know what suffering is like, because we know what real injustice is like, it doesn't take away from other people's suffering. Other people have suffered, yes, absolutely, but no one has suffered what you and I have suffered. And this is provable at no limit of time. Nobody even comes remotely close to what has happened to Black original people. And so we're the only people, dear family, who can actually offer to the planet freedom, justice, and equality, regardless to creed or class or color. This is the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught and exemplified by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is what we believe in. This is the creed and the culture and the rules and regulations and laws by which we attempt to live as members of the Nation of Islam, as a people who are following divine leadership. This is what we have to give to ourselves, but this is also what we offer to other people, as long as those people understand that the governing force in the universe is the creator of the heavens and the earth, and that the governing force in the universe has laws and statutes, has rules and regulations, has guidelines for human beings to conduct themselves in a proper way. And, you know, some of those principles, you hear them all the time, people say them, but we live in a world where very few people follow through or carry through those principles. Like, you know, among the Muslims, we have one that says, we are not Muslims, we are not righteous people until we want for our brother what we want for ourselves. This is what we say, but in practice, it's not what we do. We say it, it's a slogan, but we don't actually follow through and make that a reality. We say in the Christian parlance, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's what we say. But in reality, that's what we should do. See, it says do. It's a doing. It's a command. It's something that we should actually live by and practice. But unfortunately, you know, we live in a world where people use nice words, but very rarely do you find people living up to the nice words that they use. And I'm posing a question this evening, and I've posed this question before on the Image and Nation show. And I've asked the question, what if, I just want you to consider, I want you to imagine, because this is the Image and Nation show. Image and Nation, imagination, image and nation. I want you to imagine, I want you to ask yourself this question. What if the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is 100% true? I just want you to think about that. It's a question I'm asking you, my sister. What if the teachings is 100% true? Because why pose a question like that? Because we know that not everyone believes as we believe what we believe. It's, you know, that's reality. And you know, one would be foolish to think that just because you say something that people are necessarily going to believe what you say. Again, this is why showing and proving is so important ultimately, you see, because I think there's an English saying that the proof is in the eating. You understand what I'm saying?
The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding, or the proof is in the eating of that pudding. You know, it's all well and good looking at a picture of a pudding.
That's right.
But until you eat it, you don't actually know whether that thing is as nice as it looks, whether it's nutritional, etc., etc. You see? And so that's the question I'm posing, dear family. One of the questions I'm posing is, what if what we are taught is true? Well, let's explore that a little bit. You see, because again, all our lives, we've been taught about a God that you can't see, a God who is omnipotent, all powerful, omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's, you know, omniscient. He's just phenomenal in terms of his existence, yet no one can point you to this God. Nobody can show you. That's like me telling you about some great man, or Columbo the detective talking about his wife who nobody ever sees. Does she really exist?
Yeah, that's what you wonder.
Because he comes out with that creased up coat. He looks a mess.
Yes, yes.
So is there somebody in his life actually taking care of him, looking after him? You would hardly believe that, looking at the condition and the state of the man. And so this is what we've been taught, dear family. Essentially that God is a spook. He's sitting on a cloud somewhere. There's a heaven way up in the sky, yet with all the telescopes, with Apollo 11 and Apollo 12 and Apollo 13 and all of these space adventures, the space shuttle and the probes going to Mars, and now they're looking at Venus and other places. Nobody's ever come across this heaven yet. Just think, what if the alternative to that is the truth of what the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has pronounced and declared? What if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is not some crazy man? Because again, I know some of you think, oh, this man's just mad, he's just crazy, he's just saying these things. Really? You think that a man could teach for 68 years consistently the same thing, never miss a beat? And he's so electrifying with that word that thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions have come out to see and to hear.
Magnetic.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Say again, beloved.
I said magnetic. He draws you.
Absolutely.
To himself.
There is a magnetic attraction. And the word, you see, because I don't know, dear family, about you, but I'm sure you've met people who have repelled you. There are people like that, you know. You meet them, even it's the very first time.
Yeah. You don't like the spirit. Ooh.
You get a vibe.
Yeah, you don't like that.
You get a vibe. We met people on our trip to Africa like that. My wife would say, no, we're not taking that cab.
Yeah, but did you believe me?
and then she would say, we're taking that one. Yeah. Based on
you can feel
the energy from the person who you're trying to negotiate the price with, and so on and so forth. See, so, dear family, what if the teachings is the truth? And imagine that all of this other stuff that we've been fed, that we say we believe, because in our teachings and in the scriptures, we're taught that mere belief counts for nothing. Listen to what I'm saying now. Mere belief. You see, oh, I believe.
That's amazing, that statement.
Think about it.
When you think about it.
Think about that statement. Mere belief counts for nothing. It means nothing. It's worthless when you say, oh, I believe. Unless that belief is carried into practice. You have to be found practicing your belief for that belief to take on value.
That's right.
For that belief to be taken seriously. Because anyone can say they believe in anything, and there's lots of that today, man. People believe this, they believe that, they believe all manner of things about, you know, what's around us or what's not around us, as the case may be. But how much of what we believe is actually the truth? How much of it can be practiced? How much of it can be seen? How much of it can be felt? How much of it can be experienced? And how much of it is just mere fantasy? I'm posing these questions, dear family, because we're reflecting with Brother Leo Muhammad this evening. And I'm asking the question because I want more of you to appreciate that if, when asking that question, the answer is that the teachings are true. And I believe 1000% that these teachings are absolutely, emphatically true. This is how I attempt to live my life. I don't think I'm always successful in what I'm attempting to do, but this is what I've been attempting to do for years, and living to the best of my ability by the principles, the word, the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Well, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. This is our brother Victor Muhammad. Do you believe that there are Caucasians who follow our minister, but we black people, his family, turn their backs to him, not me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The answer to your question, dear family, is not just believe it, but know for a fact that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has explained to us on numerous occasions how some of them are literally knocking on his door.
That's right.
And the minister has gone so far as to say that if the nation of Islam was opened up to them, they would probably flood in and take over. That's where right. Black people are hesitant. Many of them believe, dear family. Many of them believe. Not only do they believe, but they attempt to carry into practice some of those things that we believe and some of those things that we do. All of this stuff about intermittent fasting, it hasn't come out of a vacuum.
That's
Go
right.
ahead, sister.
No, I was just recalling when it was the lockdown and the minister, there was a little ad that the minister did about this world, the negative, you know, with George Floyd and everything.
Yes.
And it was a lot of the white women that were bearing witness. You remember Madonna, and I'm trying to think who else. There's other white famous women.
Caucasians.
Yeah, bearing witness to the minister, you know, saying, yeah, he's telling the truth.
Oh, that's right. And then the media jumped all over them.
Yeah, they jumped all over them.
Beat them up in the public and caused them to retract or to denounce Farrakhan. I think Bruce Willis fell foul of that media one time as well when he said, listen to Bruce Willis's word, if I was a black man, I would be a follower of Farrakhan. They beat him up bad. I think his wife, I think the wife even left him. But understand, you know, the question posed by our brother Victor is a very important question, because there are numerous Caucasians who believe and follow. I've seen them online bearing witness. They're bold, saying that they believe in Minister Farrakhan. I was blessed to be at 10-10-15, the anniversary of the Million Man March in 2015 in Washington, D.C. And there was a white boy there. He's a Muslim, and he just loves the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he's adamant, you know, that this is his way of life. He can't join our mosque. He hasn't come into our mosque because we don't allow Caucasian people to join the mosque and to become FOI and MGT at this present time. But nonetheless, there he was, you know, wanting to be around the nation and wanting to demonstrate that he's a believer. And did you know, dear family, that the nature of the black person, the black man and the black woman, our nature is God, our nature is righteous.
That's right.
But there are many of us today who are doing anything but righteous. We are unrighteous in our behavior and going against our own nature. And did you know that at the same time, you've got some Caucasian people whose nature, now listen, please understand what I'm saying. We're talking here about the nature of a thing. The nature of a thing. You know, like when you read some of the insurance claims for car accidents and stuff, if you, some of the people, when they write their insurance claims, they're so creative. They're like writing and they say, well, I was driving down the road and all of a sudden there was a tree in the middle of the road, like the tree ran into the middle of the road. They're trying to write it in such a way that it's really not my fault, it's the tree's fault. But guess what? Trees don't move.
That's right.
The nature of a tree is that it stays in one place and it grows upwards and outwards, but it don't move, man. It don't travel. maybe there's an earthquake or something like that, and the whole ground opens up, and then the trees may move. But really, they're not moving off their own volition. That's the nature of a tree. We're talking about the nature. The nature of the black man and woman is righteous. Our propensity, our leaning, our tendency is to the right, to God. The nature of the Caucasian, his propensity, his leaning is to the left. See, that's why I'm really emphasizing this, because I know some of you will, oh, that's terrible. How can you? No, it's not terrible. It's like talking about mathematics. 1 and 1 is 2. Don't try and tell me that 1 and 1 is 3, because it's not. That's your emotion talking, or some other crazy faculty that we're trying to employ, some mental gymnastics to make something other than what it is. But the nature of the Caucasian is unrighteous. But guess what? You got Caucasians today more righteous than black people, going against their leaning, their nature, their propensity to live right. This is real, dear family. You can find, some of us are into birth signs. Some of us get so excited over, oh, I was born in such and such a month, and that means that my sign is, Sagittarian, or my sign is Capricorn, or my sign is Leo. Look, then we read what it says about Leo or Capricorn, and then we're trying to live according to what that says. That was
for me. That was a sign for me, isn't it?
No, family. You got to live according to your nature, according to your real character, your real self. And you can't be moved on a day, because some of us are literally doing this from the newspapers every day, or some book that's saying, well, today you will come into money. I mean, it's just pure superstitious nonsense and mumbo jumbo, dear family. I know I'm upsetting some people, because some of you swear by that stuff and you live by that. But in truth, you see, it says that Capricorns are prone to alcoholism. So now you're going to start drinking. Really? Really? Leos are prone to megalomania. So now I'm going to become some crazy person who wants to rule over everybody else. No, I mean, you can go down that road if you want, and many people do. You may have some of those characteristics, but what I'm trying to get to is that you don't have to follow them. And in fact, I think I said this once before on one of the Imagination shows, that we should be trying to identify our good and our bad traits, and we should be actively seeking to get rid of the bad ones and enhance the good ones, beloved. That's where our self-improvement study comes in. Again, given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Listen to the language of what we study in the Nation of Islam. Self-improvement, the basis for community development. Think about that. Self-improvement. See, stop looking at everybody else. When was the last time you had a good, close look at yourself? And not just the surface of yourself, but an introspective look, looking at what's really going on within. Because you see, I can sit here before you today, and I can speak nice words and say all kinds of stuff. But what if inside of me, there's all kinds of turmoil and wickedness and madness and hatred? And what if that's burning me up and eating me up inside? Then irrespective of the fact that I can mask that or hide that, it doesn't take away from the fact that that's going to ill affect me.
That's true.
That is me. That is a part of me. Even though I may be able to hide it from you, I can't hide it from myself. How did Bob Marley say it? He said, you're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running and you're running away, but you can't run away from yourself. Self-improvement is the basis. The word basis means the foundation, the thing that you can stand on for your firmity. Self-improvement is the basis for community development. Think about that. We are desperate for Black community, to be able to commune together, unity. We're desperate for unity, but how are we going to get that if each and every one of us is not in the business of improving ourselves? Do you know how many of us, beloved family, are just happy to be a nigger or a Negro or some cooney person or some, we accept mediocrity, we accept, some of us will call ourselves a gangster.
Isn't that because they don't know any better?
Yeah, because they don't know better, because we don't know better, but we could know better if we embarked on self-improvement. That's the point. We can only stay up to a point, I didn't know. See? But at some point, we've got to become learned about ourselves and about our neighbor and about the world in which we live, dear family. Ignorance is no defense, you know. Did you know that ignorance of the law is no defense? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that there was a speed limit on this road. Really? Well, you were still speeding. You're going to get the fine. That's how it works. You know. By the way, I'm not trying to uphold some of these speed limits and all the madness that the devil does, because all of that stuff is yet another trick just to take money out of the pockets of the people. But I'm using that as an example. But if we want community, if we want strong, united families, if we want a nation of people who, by virtue of being a nation, by virtue of being together, by virtue of that unified stance, we become powerful, then it begins with the individual looking at self and making a determination. This is how we're taught in the Nation of Islam. We're taught that it's first self-examination. We've got to examine ourselves. Do you know what an examination is, dear family? How many of us took exams when we were at school? How many of us were terrified of exams? I never took any. I hardly went to school. I just didn't find myself inside the school gates. There's a multiplicity of reasons why that happened during my growing up, during my dragging up, because I didn't really grow up like a normal child should. But the point is that this process of examination is really, really important. When you say, I'm going to take an exam, it often makes people scared, because it means you're going to be tested, you're going to be tried, you're going to
see how much you know.
Yeah, to see, you know, what you know about the subject.
That's right.
When you're taking that driving test, you when you're having the lessons, you're driving quite well. It's, you know, it feels good and you think you've mastered it. But come the examination, the test, all of a sudden you're nervous, terrified, and you could make silly mistakes and actually fail the test. Because the examination, go ahead.
No, sister. I was going to say that when it's a driving test, that's a different kind of test rather than when you're doing a sit-down exam, because anything can happen on that road, isn't it? When somebody's coming and then you hesitate, you know, and then you think, oh, should I go? Should I not?
It's not
and
predictable. You can't predict what's going to happen, because you can't determine.
You're not in control of the other. You're not in control of what's going on,
what's moving on the road.
That's right. Whereas when you sit down to do an exam, you know, have you studied or not? Do you
Right.
see? Have you put in the work?
Right.
Or then just me saying that, I'm thinking, okay, that's the same with driving though.
It's the same
It's the
thing.
same, isn't it?
It's the
Yes.
same thing. That's why that's why when you break it down, it means the same thing.
Yes.
It's an
Hmm.
examination. You know, you've got to look. You've got to put in the work. You've
Yes.
got to. It's not some lightweight thing. I
Yes.
know many of us. You know, we've been to study guide. We've done, but we're very surface in our approach
What
to
is
it.
study guide? Because maybe not everyone
Study
knows.
study guide is the main um, book learning type of study that we do in the Nation of Islam. You know, we read the Holy Quran, we read the Bible, we read so many things that we study in the Nation of Islam, but the official formal study of the members of the Nation of Islam is called Study Guide. And it is produced for us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This ain't no man who's just some firebrand teacher just out in the public, just upsetting white people and Jews and whatever. Nah, man, the man is deeper than that. The man is divinely missioned by God and his teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, to do the work that he's doing. And believe me, he has done his work beyond the call of duty.
That's right.
Beyond what he has given us in the Nation of Islam to study, because you know some people are like, oh, what are you going to do when Farrakhan is gone? Let me tell you something. If we studied for the rest of our lives what he has given us and what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has left with us, none of us, not one of us, could ever complete that study to the satisfaction where we could sit back and say, oh, right, now I'm learned now. I've done it now.
No,
Stop it.
No way.
Stop it. That would be supreme
that's
arrogance.
Your death then. That's your decline.
Exactly. Because the word is so full, it's so deep that it's like you know, to use that term, it's an onion, right? It's just got layers and layers and layers. And the more you peel, the more is underneath the word. You know, because I've heard people say, yeah, like I've read Message to the Black Man, or you know,
I have to keep reading it.
Yeah, or I know the teachings.
Read the Holy Quran.
They've studied the teachings and now they've moved on.
Yes, how?
To higher learning. Really? Yeah, let me tell you something, man. You haven't even begun to understand what this teaching is all about. Dear family, it's self-examination. You've got to examine yourself, and that's not, you know, when you go to the doctors and he says, take your clothes off, yeah, and you know, he wants to examine you now, or if you're under the surgeon and they've got to do an internal with the telescopic camera or whatever. See, these you know, there's different levels of examination. That's what I'm trying to get to here. There is under the surface examination. What do you mean examination? You got to examine your history, your past. What was your background? How did you grow up? What are the things that have influenced you? Because every single one of us have got different influences, and based on what our experiences have been, what trauma we've been through, what joyful things we've experienced, what's been done to us, what we've done to others, all of these things can determine who we are today. And so it begins with self-examination. The next principle is self-analysis. You've got to analyze what you find. How many of us is an analyst, can analyze anything? Do we know how to analyze? Do we know how to break something apart and look deep into it to analyze its constituent or component parts? We've got to be able to look at ourselves like that. Go ahead.
Well, sister. I do know if there's something affecting me, that something's come up on my skin, I have to analyze, okay, go back. What have I eaten?
Yes.
Or what was my thinking at the time
Mm.
of why
This
something's
has
come up.
happened. This
Yeah,
is.
or like if you had a headache, that's
Mm.
what you, when you have a headache, this world teaches you, oh, just pop a pill. But no,
Yes.
you're supposed to go back
Mm-hmm.
and think, okay, have I drank enough water? Did I
Mm-hmm.
eat something? Have I
Mm-hmm.
had enough sleep? But
Mm-hmm.
we're not taught to analyze
Yes.
anything.
Yes. It's very important what my sister is saying. And this is the process that, we're really trying to get across to our people. That if we lived our lives on this type of basis, we could be a lot more successful. I'm going to say a couple of things in a minute, which, some of you may not like, and you may even think, oh, why do you have to talk on that kind of level? But it's just so that we can. I'm just trying to paint a picture in truth, so that we can understand self-examination, self-analysis, self-correction.
Well, I was just thinking, it makes you think also when you see somebody behave a particular way, then you don't just like a child, don't just chastise them straight away. You got to look what made them do what they did.
Mm.
These
What was
all,
the what was the motivation?
that's right. Yes.
Mm.
What was going on? Why have you done what this particular thing? You have
Yes.
to analyze. Everything is about analyzing
Yes.
and studying and correcting.
Yes. Well, you know that we're taught that God doesn't punish you
Mm-hmm.
necessarily for what you do, but you get punished for the motivation behind what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Because did you know that you could do something innocently,
Mm-hmm.
meaning well,
Yeah.
but it's wrong, it's bad, and it
Mm-hmm.
actually ends up harming or
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
God is so merciful that He's not going to punish you for a mistake,
Mm-hmm.
for something that you did that you
Mm-hmm.
did not mean.
Mm-hmm.
He will find a way for you to be extricated from that situation. You may have to still bear consequences, but what you get punished for, what He punishes for, because He has both an active and a permissive will.
Mm-hmm.
What He will actively punish us for is the motive behind what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan used this example, and I think it's a beautiful one. You see the young boy helping the old lady across the road with her shopping. And on the surface, you say, "Oh wow, look at that! That's a good boy.
Yes.
Wonderful that he's helping the old lady." What you didn't see was the real motivation for him looking like he was helping the old lady, because what he did at the time when he first took her bag was that he also took her purse from out of that bag and slipped it into his pocket. And then he gave her bag when she was on the other side of the road. And when that poor old lady got to the bus stop and looked for her purse, it wasn't there. So you're going to get punished for that motive, for that wicked motive, not because it's deceptive, man.
Right.
To use that big action to shield or to hide what your real motivation was. So, dear family, it's self-examination, self-analysis, and self-correction. See, after the examination and analyzing what we find, we have to correct. We have to correct. And how can you correct wrong or, unless you've been taught the difference between right and wrong? See, so these are principles and things that we have to employ in our lives. I was going to say like this, dear family, based on what Sister Claudia was saying about, did I eat something wrong? Was my thinking off? Whatever. I wanted to just say something to you like this. When we were in Africa, we came across droppings that were left by goats. And you could readily identify the goats' droppings, because they're like little pebbles. Okay, and they always look the same with the goats. And we came across the droppings of donkeys
and
the cow. The cows.
The cow. That
the
was
cow
the main one.
is called a cow pat.
Yes.
It looks, it's got a particular configuration to it, particular shape, and even consistency in terms of its feel. By the way, I've picked them up with my hands in the past when I was growing up in Jamaica, just so that you all know. I've picked up poo-poo in my hand. I've picked up
excrement.
I've picked up, well, we don't even call it that in truth. I'm trying to think of the right word. That manure. Manure. When we were picking it up, it was because it was manure. We was picking up stuff from the horse, picking up stuff from the cows, whatever, because it's fertilizer, beloved. And we were putting it on the garden, putting it on our plants. I'm sure I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talk about doing that as well as a boy, going out and collecting that stuff when the horse has gone by. When I think when he was living in Boston, if I remember correctly, or in New York, but and I think he said his mum would send him out to go and get it, and I think he was embarrassed and he didn't like anybody to see him doing it. But you know, all of these creatures are dropping manure or waste matter that has a particular consistency or look to it. Why? Because they're eating a particular food that is designed by God for them. But then look at us now. The human being, and I know I spoke to a white woman many, many years ago. I was trying to explain to her that the human being is the highest manifestation of God's creation on the planet. And she was adamant, it's a white woman, she was adamant that no, we're not. Dogs are better. I mean, she was serious. She loved her dogs more than she loved human beings. Well, that's her emotional expression. That's how she feels. That's okay, that's fine. Many white people say that. They say the dog is the man's best friend. We disagree. Respectfully, we disagree. We say God is man's best friend. But you can have your belief. But my point is this, dear family, you know, as the highest manifestation of God's creation, God's creatures, why is it that we go to the toilet? This is what I said, maybe some of you wouldn't like, because, you know, it sounds a bit crude or rude or gross. But just think about it, man. We go to the toilet one day, we got the runs. It's just all over the place. Maybe we have to go 2 or 3 times because we can't stop running in the toilet. Another day we go, we're constipated. We can hardly get anything out. Maybe it's like we might be in there for half an hour, straining and doing all kinds of stuff, sometimes to the point where we might burst blood vessels. Think about this, because this is the reality of many people's lives. Did you know that a lot of people in today's world only go to the toilet? I'm talking about to deal with number 2. I think we is called number 1. To excrete. Yes. Once a week. Sometimes some people are not going for 2 weeks.
Or I knew somebody who didn't go for 3 weeks and she was always ill.
Wow.
Always.
Can you imagine? And you're eating. Don't forget, people in this world, they eat
3 meals a
no
day.
more than that.
Always eating. No, but always eating, isn't it?
Yeah, people are eating 5, 6, 7 times a
and
day.
It's not coming out of your body.
Mr. P says every day for me. Well,
yes, praise
thank
God.
God for that, brother. Because it should be every day. Sometimes you could go twice a day. That's normal, man. Yes. When your body is functioning right, you should be every day like clockwork, regular. And guess what? The same way in which you can predict the outcome of the horse or the cow or the goats. Did you know that if we were really living according to the standards of God and who we are in terms of
Listen, 3 times a day. I bear
So,
witness to that, Sister
twice
Daisy.
or 3 times
Yes,
a day.
I
Yeah.
bear witness to
Praise
that.
God. Daisy Wallace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Did you know that you should be able to actually predict what your feces is going to look like? If we were more disciplined about what we put into our bodies.
Well, it shouldn't be a case that if somebody's been to the bathroom, the whole household has to evacuate
I mean,
the place.
That's right. But it's true.
They say, what on earth is that?
But it's true. Look, family, as I'm sitting here, I'm always hot. I'm always sweating. I'm sweating.
Whereas I'm all cool here.
Sister Claudia is all cool. So that's what she says because you can't see her on the camera. But understand, dear family, as I'm sweating, I don't feel in any danger of stinking up the place with my perspiration. No. Even your perspiration should not stink.
And yeah, I'll tell a story, a quick story.
No, tell it.
That since joining the nation, changing my diet, I do not use deodorant.
Praise
and you don't either.
No,
yes, we don't use deodorant.
We don't use that stuff, family. You don't have to.
You don't have to.
Imagine spraying something on yourself to mask.
No.
A bad smell. Yes. You shouldn't have the bad smell in the first place.
Right. That's right.
Do you understand why we have those bad smells?
It's
based on what we eat.
That's
man.
right.
Do you understand that so much of what we eat then has to go through a process of putrefaction or rotting? Do you understand that many of the meats that we eat are breaking down and putrefying for 36 and 72 hours inside of our body before they're actually able to be digested by the acids in our stomach, by which time it starts coming out of our pores.
No, but when there's certain people that eat particular food and you can smell it coming out of them. Man. Imagine it's amazing, the human body when it works properly.
Wow, family. What if the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is 100% the truth? I just want us to think, man. Just think about this, because this is really, really serious business. What if, listen to my question, what if God is a man? See that pregnant pause? It's called a pregnant pause. Somebody can give birth while they're waiting for me to speak again. What if God is a man? How many of us have really contemplated this, man? Instead of just dismissing it, no, well, that's impossible. How could he be? I mean, but why are you calling him he then?
That's right.
Well, why are you saying that, talking about God's eyes? Why are you talking about his mouth? He speaks. Why are you saying that he sits on the throne? Really? Really? What is he sitting on? Just think. That's all. Why is he the supreme being? Why am you and I, a human being, and he is the supreme being? What does supreme mean? The highest, the greatest, the best. Why can't you imagine a man like that? It's all well and good talking about Einstein. Yeah, Einstein. Einstein. His brain. Oh my God. Elon Musk. Oh my God. Look what Steve Jobs. Oh my God. Yeah, wonderful. We're not talking about them people, man. I'm telling you that there's a man on the planet, in the universe, who is supreme above any man you can name. I just want us to think, that's all. We're reflecting this evening with Brother Leo Muhammad. I hope that this is going to work. Imagination, promoting and advertising goods and services for the benefit of our community. Please take note dear family, of the following and support, man. Let's just have a little musical interlude. Visit www.jjsorrow.com at jj_love_sorrow or info at jjsorrow.com or call 079475341. Dear family, check out JJ's Sorrow products. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful looking, and wonderful tasting. Check it out.
And when that ad comes in, that's why I'm not on camera. I do do a little dance to that song.
She was dancing all the way through, and that proper kind of Caribbean with the arms up and everything. It's
just full of life, isn't it? You feel the sun.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Why can't we go on? Why couldn't we do YouTube, man? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Really, really ridiculous. Dear family, visit www.natureshairproducts.co.uk and try the beard oil, specially formulated hair butters, and so much more from Nature's Hair Products. Check it out. Check it out, brothers and sisters. B.W. Heating, plumbing services, are looking for a young trainee aged between 18 and 25, interested in learning and getting hands-on experience in heating and plumbing. It's a wonderful profession if you can get into it. We are based in West London. No experience is required. You must be willing and not afraid of hard work. If that sounds like you, please contact Bert on 07831 841 786. That's 07831 841 786, or email on bwheating@hotmail.co.uk. That's bwheating@hotmail.co.uk. Dear family, visit the tribe and get some traditional garments and show your excellence at www.tribenation2019.com. Dear brothers and sisters, check out Nia's Bean Pies. Visit Instagram at Nia's_bean_pies or call 07956 127 975. That's 07956 127 975. It is a sweet that's healthy all at the same time. Did you want to say
that? Yeah, now, actually.
Yeah, I was in a bakery today, man. Yes. I was very tempted to, but you baked a cake, that's why I didn't, because I know if you bake something really nice and then I come home with something in my hand,
yes, I wouldn't be very happy.
Yeah, my wife would not be very happy.
Is that your phone that is on?
Family, it's not on. I've got my phone on silent, but some of these messages tend to make noise when they come through. I don't know why that should be, but check out the bean pie, dear family. It is a very, very powerful food. Believe it or not, those beans can actually protect you from some of the radiation fallout. There are some books which have been published by members of the Nation of Islam that really break down the actual dynamics and the molecular structure of the beans and what they do in terms of helping the health of the human being.
That's right, because I'll just say, obviously How to Eat to Live is our main book that we go with, and not being at home and not having my beans, I found I did suffer being away.
Yes. You mean when we were just away the other day?
Yes. I need the beans.
Yes. And while we were away the other day, we were self-catering because we're just not people who go and eat other people's food, go into restaurants.
Unless we know them.
If we know them, but there's knowing and there's knowing and there's knowing. Okay. Check out WYLA for boys and girls age 8 to 16. Producing our future leaders, dear family. Visit www.wylauk.com Very, very important, dear family, that we are building a foundation for our children, allowing our children to absolutely shine and to become who they were born to be. Understand what happened to this young girl in this Surrey school recently, being attacked, mob attacked by people outside the school, and then you've got others standing by and basically just observing. Don't give a damn about what's happening to our young people. We need to get our people into an environment. Look at it, these images. They're learning to cook. And look at the enthusiasm in the class with the hands up when one of the instructors is asking a question. That's the kind of environment that where they can be brothers to brothers and sisters to sisters and really fall in love with learning, because the learning has them right at the center of the learning, rather than teaching them about 1066 and the Battle of Hastings, which they don't know or can't identify with. Everything that you teach the young person today must be something that they can see themselves in the picture. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, that's what you want. You want to take your children somewhere where you know they're safe, you know the teachers have got their best interests at heart, you know the children are on a particular level. They don't tolerate that in WILA.
Yes.
All this nonsense. So, you know, we need to have our own schools. You just cannot have our children in these killing fields.
They're killing fields, family. They are killing fields. Visit www.p2bb.uk or londonstudygroup19.org and order your Proud to be Black t-shirts, caps and mugs, and say it like you mean it, dear family. P2BB, proud to be black, man. That's what we got to be. Stop falling for the hype and believing this nonsense that, you know, the enemy has taught, that there's something about black that we should be ashamed of. I mean, pity you can't see. Well, just go.
No.
I want them to see your faces.
I'm proper.
She's so black right now, having been under the African sun. She is black.
I'm not my original color.
Looks like a black grape, like a little black grape.
Even the children keep double taking and say, "Is that you? You look dark.
You look dark, mommy. You look dark."
That's how I'm supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is my proper color.
Even
one
color.
Tone instead of 24.
I hope you should be able to see. I've also got some color on me, because
but not as much.
Unlike the natives in these countries, when we go, we don't shy away from the sun, man. We ain't running and hiding. It always amazes me when I see brothers and sisters who go abroad in the sun and they come back looking exactly the same. I'm thinking, did you really go anywhere? Because me, I always come back black. Always, because I'm out there deliberately trying to soak in this life-giving energy.
Black, and it was a short space of time.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You feel energized.
I love it.
Yeah, so do I. I'll have to go back.
I love it. And what we do, dear family, when we see really black people, we always make it our habit to tell them how beautiful they look.
That's right.
My wife is the worst at that. She will, when she sees a black looking person, man, she gonna tell them, you are absolutely beautiful. See, because too many of us have fallen for that madness where we're trying to lighten up. Stop it.
And we saw that where we were.
No, we did. Yeah, we saw the skin lightening creams.
And some sisters,
it was in the shops, wasn't it?
Yes, some sisters that look like.
And some sisters look like duppy. They look like ghosts, because you can see they've been using it.
Yes.
Trying to get the blackness off.
DJ Mr. P, I'm not on camera because it was so annoying last week doing the Houdini. We just can't do that.
We're gonna sort it out. We're gonna have to get a separate camera for our sister, and I mean, we got a lot of infrastructure stuff to do, man. It's just bear with us, dear family, and we will improve, inshallah. Help us to improve. Visit www.natureshairproducts.co.uk and try the moisturizing hair and scalp oil, as well as beard oil and other natural hair products, dear family. That's what we want you to do. Don't forget, brothers and sisters, visit our YouTube channel, The Nation of Islam London Study Group New. Like, share, and subscribe. Click on the donation button to help us continue what we are doing. Dear family, continuing in our reflection with Brother Leo and Sister Claudia, who is with us this evening. You know, this incident, this attack that took place with our young sister, and what I wanted to just reflect briefly on this evening is some of the aftermath of that, and our people going there to demonstrate, which I understand. I've been on a number of demonstrations over the years myself, so I understand the motivation and the desire to go and make our presence felt and to let the enemy know that we are displeased, that we're angry, you know, with what they consistently do to our people, targeting them with these mob attacks. If it's not civilians, then it's the police or some other institution that's, you know, doing evil to our people. But I must say, dear family, we nullify our demonstrations when we appear to be so emotional that we have little or no control, and where we end up shouting down each other because no one can be heard. You know, let me just tell you something. You know, there have been many occasions in the past where we've had to go out as members of the Nation of Islam to deal with injustice, to confront the police or to confront some civilians. Believe me, we've had a lot of incidents like that where we've fought, we've had fights with white men, okay, on the streets. We've had fights with the police, okay. We've had those incidents, and we've had on occasion times when we've had to demonstrate. But for instance, I remember one night when I was arrested because we had a fight with some white men who were disrespecting some of our sisters. And I don't know what they thought. Maybe I heard many years later that they actually thought that we were Christians who occupied the building that we occupied in West London in Shepherd's Bush. And I don't know what they thought about Christians, whether if they thought we were Christians and that we were just some soft people who were going to turn the other cheek, I guess, if we were attacked. But they, you know, did what they did to our sisters, said what they said, and we went to confront them. And because they'd been drinking the amber nectar, because they were outside a pub and they were tanked up, they felt brave, and so they decided that they were going to fight us. And we basically just wiped the floor with them. We spread them all over the Goldhawk Road in West London. We beat the hell out of them. But then, while we were beating them, the police showed up. And instead of running to the drunk white men who were all over the place, cursing, breaking bottles, throwing glasses, and all this kind of stuff, they came to the well-dressed Muslims in suits and ties and decided to attack us and even set their dogs on us. And that night, a dog bit me on my arm, bit me in my back. We ended up suing them, by the way, and we won the case, and they had to pay us thousands of pounds for that assault. But away from that, dear family, you know, when we've gone out in the past and we've had to deal with the authorities or to deal with officialdom, there could be 10, 15, 20 of us there, but guess what? There's a spokesman. Only one of us speaks. And when we move like that, you see, these people, they're forced, man. They realize, one, that you're organized, two, that you're disciplined, three, that you've got character in the sense that you've designated a spokesperson, a spokesman, or a spokeswoman, and everybody else is quiet, man. observing and paying attention and being on post, being soldierly to deal with the issue. Go ahead.
No, because that's one thing these people, they don't like, is when you ignore them, when you have one spokesperson and then they try and speak to somebody else and try and, you know, and they're not even looking at them.
That's right.
Yeah. It's the discipline. They can't. That's one thing people hate, is to be ignored.
That's
and
right.
Especially as Black people, we need to learn that discipline.
That's right.
Just have a spokesperson.
Come on.
And be disciplined.
Come on, family. They're not going to respect us when we come. They're not going to be afraid of us. They're not going to recognize that we represent any kind of threat or any kind of authority when we come as a rabble and we're just making a whole heap of noise. That doesn't do anything. What they do is they whisper to one another, "Oh, the natives are restless again." That's it. That's it. And in fact, some of them are laughing because they can see that, well, the way we're moving, we can't affect any kind of change.
But I was going to say, in saying that, praise God that our people are
reacting,
standing up.
Yes. Well, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's beautiful that we would go out.
That's right.
But there's a way that we have to start going out.
Yes. And it's starting. It will start, isn't it? Because we're making an effort to come out.
Absolutely.
We're not letting things go past.
Absolutely.
Like we used to. Oh, this happened. Oh, really? No, we're beginning to stand up for each other, and I think that is very key.
Come on, family. Let's get it together, because, see, it's not like this abuse is going to stop.
No,
it really isn't. It's not going to stop. Okay. It doesn't matter how you try to appeal to the better nature of these people. It's not within their capacity to do justice by us. It's not going to happen. I'm not talking about that individual white man or white woman that you know is your next door neighbor that you get on so well with, and you wish all of them were like, no, it's not going to happen, dear family. I wanted to also touch on this movie. I'm not going to say much about it because I don't want to do no spoilers. But I had a look at this movie that's come out recently called You People. And I've got to tell you, man, I was, very rarely do I watch a film and I'm actually angry throughout the film.
No, from the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. And I'm really struggling to watch it. Because I know propaganda when I see it. And I know when a trick, a major, significant trick is being played on the masses of our people. I know. It's called You People. And they dare in that movie to even mention the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and try to slander him. Try to repeat the nonsense about hatred of Jews or whatever the accusations are. Dear brothers and sisters, I'm appealing to you, man. You know, Eddie Murphy is what they call an icon in the Black community. He's a superstar in the Black world as an actor. And whether you appreciate this or not, when you see Eddie Murphy on the screen, when you loved him in Trading Places or 48 Hours or any of his other movies, Boomerang, and so many films that he has done, and we grew to love the brother, admire the brother, and then you see him in this movie, which again, there's lots of things to admire about the brother in the movie, but it's these roles that these Hollywood types write for us, man, and that they get us to play. I watched this movie and how they try to make something that does not exist exist. This relationship between Black people and Jewish people, and taking it to the extreme now where this white Jew man is going to fall in love with this Black woman, and she's going to fall in love with him. And despite the evidence, despite the mountain of negativity and history and violence, and by the way, this violence has been one way. It's not, we have never ever been a people who have persecuted Jews or done anything to Jewish people. You can't point to our history or their history and show anything of that character, but we can show you. Check out the secret relationships between Blacks and Jews, okay? Written by their scholars, their rabbis, their historians, and just lifted from the pages of their works and put into several volumes, 3 volumes, I believe now, of the secret relationships, where they've recorded their deeds against us, okay? This is the reality of those books. For those who tell you, oh, the books are anti-Semitic and whatever, well, we didn't write it. We didn't make up some fiction. We just quoted their rabbis, their scholars, their historians, and what they have recorded in history about the relationship between the two people. But to watch this movie manufacture a fake relationship that they're hoping Black women are gonna want to emulate and go and find themselves a nice little white boy, be it a Jew or a Gentile, it makes no difference. And the things that we will be forced to accept in the movie are the same things that they are hoping that we'd be foolish enough to accept, to compromise with in real life. You know, I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaching one day, and he said, we can compromise. I'm paraphrasing, okay? We can compromise with most things. And these are the words that he used. You know, there's compromise to be had in most things. He said, the one thing we cannot compromise is the truth. And I'm watching a movie where you got a white boy lying through his teeth in order to win the affections of this Black woman. And those lies are never corrected in the film. But he ends up with her, though. I mean, just think about that. This is what they think, that we are so dumb that we would enter into a relationship on the basis of a lie, and somehow that relationship is true. My God. Did you know that once upon a time when they made movies, they would never allow the bad guy to win? The anti-hero to be the victor at the end. You would have to die or go to prison or something, because it wasn't morally, it wasn't a good message to send. Yeah, that's all changed now. That's all changed now, dear family. I just thought I would mention that because I know many of you will see it at some point if you haven't already seen it, and it's designed to play with your head. All throughout the film, there's the usual rap songs calling us niggers and bees for the females, female dogs and hoes and all the rest. It's all there. It's all very subtle the way it's done. You know, Hollywood, they are genius when it comes to writing scripts and making movies, dear family. And the language that they're using in the movie, they got the white boy talking all the Black stuff, and he's got, you know, everybody's hip to certain language now, and swearing is second nature. These are people who claim, by the way, to be Jews. They've got Eddie Murphy claiming to be a Muslim. who got a hat from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know, look, dear family, the minister does wear a fez from time to time on special occasions, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wore that fez that depicted the universe, sun, moon, and stars. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has done that on a number of occasions too. But generally in the Nation of Islam, we don't wear kufis. But in the movie, you know, they're trying to put something there that doesn't really exist. It's very subtle what they're attempting to do, but I'm warning us, dear family, be very careful with these new movies that are coming out, because they're designed to trick you into, and don't think that they can't do it. See, they're movies because the pictures move, yes, but they're movies because they move the masses. That's why they cost so much. That's why so much money is invested in making films, man, because they move the masses of the people.
They can take them in a particular direction that they want us to go into.
One of the people in Hollywood confessed all of that to the minister.
Yeah, they study, isn't it?
Yeah,
they want.
They got think tanks.
That's right.
That study the trends in society. And if it's going in a direction that they don't like, they bring out movies designed to move it back in the direction they want to go, man.
Isn't it like Public Enemy? They were so positive back then, the people, but then they had to change.
They had to counter it with NWA.
That's right. Yeah.
Niggers with attitude. Yeah. By the way, when I say nigger in that context, don't be offended, dear family. See, even that, where they say, oh, you know, the N-word. I understand. You know, we shouldn't be repeating it. Really? No, we shouldn't be calling one another that. But don't let no one tell you that you can't contextualize that word in terms of what we have been called in history. Niggers and coons and shines and all manner of evil, despicable names to take us away from our character and to make us into beasts. If you can't teach your children where we have been and what we had to come through, your children are going to grow up in a vacuum thinking that that never happened.
That's right.
But with Jews, see, they talk to you all day long about the Holocaust. And the Holocaust came up a lot in this movie.
Sorry, are you asking if the movie is on YouTube or is it
on
Netflix?
Yeah, it's not on YouTube. You can find it on Netflix, dear family. It's on Netflix, okay? It's on Netflix. Dear brothers and sisters, we're reflecting, man. We want to know what's going on. At the moment, the war in Ukraine is escalating. It is not going to stop. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And the Western powers, they're pumping in more and more weapons into this region, with the express desire, according to what they're all saying, that they want Ukraine to be able to defeat Russia. I mean, this is so ridiculous. I mean, you know, I don't know what you know about nuclear powers like Russia. Russia, by the way, has got more nuclear weapons than any other nation on the planet. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if America's even got more, but they're such liars that they will hide their numbers. But the Russians, according to what all of the geopolitics statisticians and professionals who observe all of these things say, Russia's got the most. And according to Vladimir Putin, they got the most sophisticated weapons of mass destruction in terms of nuclear weapons. And the West, in this support of Ukraine and pushing for more and more armaments, now tanks, and now they're talking, I think Rishi Sunak the other day had a visit from Vladimir Zelensky, and he went into the parliament and spoke to the politicians, and as a block of politicians, every single one of them is saying the same thing, that we are backing Ukraine to the hilt, and we will, echoing Joe Biden, because you know Britain and America, they're tied at the hip, they're tied at the heart, they're tied at the head, they're one and the same thing. But we will support Ukraine for as long as it takes. Takes to do what? Believe it or not, these people believe that they can create an environment of war that is such that the Russian people will turn against their leadership, overthrow Vladimir Putin and replace him with something more acceptable to the West. What they don't understand is they actually should be, they're lucky that it's Putin, because some of the people around Putin and behind the scenes in the Kremlin, they don't really want to play this game with the West. I can assure you, dear family, there's some people there, they would want to move Putin out of the way, because they don't believe that Putin has been prosecuting this war to the level that he should be. I'm not going to go too deep into this. I'm just reflecting. I'm just saying to you and me that whether we like it or not, dear family, and whether we're living in the West or not, we could be on the continent of Africa, man. As it escalates, it's going to affect all of us. So all of us need to prepare. That's my message. That's my point. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody needs to prepare. You need to determine, dear family, to have food in your homes, water, all of these things, at least to be able to last you for 3 to 6 months, for you and your family members. Again, brothers, and somebody says here, an exit plan, Blaxit to Africa. Absolutely. If you can get out and get to the motherland, go, family. If you can get out and get back to your family members in the Caribbean, go, get out. What did the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say, Sister Claudia? What was his quote recently?
Forsake your houses and run.
Say it again, please.
Forsake your houses and run.
And what is the title of Saviour's Day 2023?
The War of Armageddon has begun.
Say it again, please, beloved.
The War of Armageddon has begun.
It's begun. It started. World War III. More and more now you hear Biden talked about it the other day. So many commentators are talking about this war because they understand that we're living in that time period when this is due. This is the time. This is what is about to unfold on our planet. And millions, if not billions of people potentially could lose their lives. Almighty God Allah has the power to determine the outcome, and he will determine the outcome. They're not factoring him, but we're telling you that his role is going to be a significant role in the final outcome of how this world ultimately is configured. In fact, this world, not the planet, this world is finished. And a new world is coming. And I'm saying, dear family, we have to renew ourselves. We have to renew our thinking, because the old won't be able to fit into that new. We have to humble ourselves, become once again, literally like children.
We have to be made over again.
How did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say it? We have to be completely made over. Listen to that language. And it's not as difficult as we think, dear family. I'll close with this. Ye are all gods, not adults of the Most High God, children of the Most High God. We have to bow down to the Creator. We have to recognize that part of us that speaks to us all the time. You know that there's two of you, right? Some of us got three of us, because we got Satan on one side, God on the other side, and then we're all confused in the middle. You got to sort out these personalities. You gotta solidify, bring everything into one, and choose the one who is righteous. Choose the one who is God. This day I hold up before you two signs, one of life and one of death. The scripture says, choose life. Dear family, I hope that something that we have reflected on this evening has caused you to think, because as a man, as a woman thinketh, so is he, so is she. We just want to think today. We want to imagine today. We want to vision a different reality, looking at what's there and realizing that what's there is not for us. It's not good for us. It's not of our making. It's not our creation. It's not what God has planned for us. And so therefore we have to choose again, and we have to do right by ourselves and by our family and by our community and by our nation. And so, dear family, I want you to stay strong, stay blessed, stay focused, stay alert, be intelligent, be wise, develop your knowledge, your wisdom, your understanding, carry yourself in a strong and powerful way, man. Get rid of fear out of your life. This is not a day for cowards. This is a day for strong men and women. Dear beloved brothers and sisters, thank you so much for allowing me and my Sister Claudia Muhammad, to come into your place of abode, wherever you are, wherever you're viewing this. Once again, I apologize that we could not come to those of you who normally watch this on YouTube, but this is why we're constantly giving out the Zoom link. You get that Zoom link, man, so that when you can't get on, you can get on the Zoom. So we look forward to seeing you again next week, inshallah. Thank you. May Allah bless you. As I greet you, as I found you, in the greeting words of peace, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, family, and stay strong. Stay
Take care.
safe. Thank you for all your comments.
Take care, beloved family.
Thank you for your support.